What's up, everyone? Welcome to another generic review. I don't know what I'm doing. What's up, everybody? Welcome to another generic review. Another company sent us something, and that something is a webcam, the OBSBOT Tiny. It is an AI tracking webcam. It has the ability to track your motions, like your movements and stuff like that if you're standing up and moving around. And it's gesture controlled. It has a gesture that allows you to stop tracking yourself. It also has another gesture that allows you to zoom in and zoom out. So it's a pretty cool camera. We're going to get into it, give you the review of it. I also have a Logitech C922 that we use for our stream, and then a Logitech C920 that we use for our dog cam for our stream. We are going to compare the OBSBOT Tiny to those cameras as well. The OBSBOT Tiny comes with, of course, the camera, a USB-C to USB-A connection, and a magnetic mount for the top of your monitor. It has a DC connection on the back of it, but does not have a DC connector in the package. The camera just magnetizes to the mount, and that's the USB-C cable port in the back, and it has a mount for tripods on the bottom. It's got a lot of good range of motion and everything. So to connect it, you pretty much take the USB cable, plug it into the computer, and you're good to go. There's a little sticky tape on the mount. Set the mount on top of the camera on top of the mount, and then you plug that bad boy in. You should probably do this in reverse, honestly, because once you do plug it in, it turns on like this. Also want to make sure you move that sticky tape off the lens. To download it, you go to the website, click Windows or Mac, save, and pretty much just go through the steps. It's pretty intuitive, easy to figure out. And there you have it. The camera on the top is the Logitech C920. The camera underneath that one is the Logitech C922. And then, of course, the one on the right side is the OBSBOT. You can compare the quality of them. Obviously, I think that out of all of them, the C922 has the best video, the best quality looking look to it. I did go and edit the settings for each one of these cameras to try to get them to look the best possible. So that I could get, at least, mess with brightness, contrast, and all that kind of stuff, so that I can get a really nice, crisp and colorful video out of each one of them. After updating the firmware and messing with the settings a little bit more, I was actually able to get a pretty decent quality out of the OBSBOT. So let's look at the OBSBOT full screen real quick. Let's get rid of that. So this is the OBSBOT full screen. As you can see, before I had some, graininess over often, in the carpeted areas and everything, and it looks a lot more crisp. This is actually a decent quality picture. So it's definitely not as good as the two Logitech cameras, but it's definitely not bad. If we want to look at, this is going to be the Logitech C920. Obviously, you can see that it's not as wide angle. It has a little bit better range, it seems like, to get colors and light. If you're not going to be getting up and using the OBSBOT for its tracking purposes, which is the main reason anyone would buy this camera, to be honest, I would probably stick with something like the C920 or the C922. This is the C922 right here. Obviously, the C922 is a little bit better than the C920. C922 and C920 are very comparable, though, but I would recommend the C922, obviously, because it's a little bit newer. Trying to center myself. So yeah, as far as the picture goes, it's passable. If you mess around with the settings a little bit, the OBSBOT can have a pretty decent picture. So let's go back to looking at some of these settings. Right here under Connect, that tells you the name of the camera. I changed the name of our camera to Bob. I don't know why. Smart shooting, AI tracking. I guess that locks it and unlocks it. So right now it's not tracking. And then if I turn it on, it is now tracking. Of course, you have a zoom. And then you have the gimbal control right here, where you can actually move it around yourself if you want, which is pretty cool. So we don't look at all that trash over there. You're seeing all the stuff that you don't see on stream usually and in the shots. But anyways, that's actually pretty cool. Like I kind of like if I was like we're streaming or something and I was like, hey guys, oh, that's my collection of stuff over here. Oh, look at my collection of helmets. Yeah, you like the collection of helmets I got? And that's all my toys and stuff. And then we've got the Horde and the Alliance flag in the background. And then reset, of course, we'll bring it back down to the middle. And then now it's tracking my... Cool. Okay, so as far as settings, you've got the software version, firmware version. You can click update right there. You can put the device to sleep in the settings. That's pretty cool. Gesture control and lock target, gesture zoom. So you could turn those two gestures off. The only two gestures they have is zoom and lock target. So I will probably go over those here in a minute. With the standard tracking, you can move pretty close to the top of the frame and it won't recenter. If you use headroom mode, headroom mode is going to make sure that your face is in the center of the frame at all times. Not at all times, but that's essentially going to be the goal. Your face is in the center of the frame up and down wise. This doesn't really tell you anything about that kind of stuff. I'm guessing that motion mode, it seems like it's just tracking a little bit faster. Configure video is going to give you a link to the just Windows webcam properties. I had already messed with those just a little bit. Preset position. This is a preset position. Move over here. That's a preset position. If I lock that so it's not tracking, then I can make it so that that's a pretty cool concept. So I could just be like, if I have something that's off to the right that I want to show you guys, like a dog or something like that, I'm like, oh, check out my dog. And then like, okay, camera back on me. Hey, look, Jen's there. Hi, Jen. Yeah, and then I could be like, oh, dog. That's pretty cool. So preset positions, that's pretty cool. Initial boot position, so you can set exactly where you want it to be whenever you turn the camera on. One thing that I just realized that you need to make sure that you do is update your firmware if possible. Look for an update for your firmware because the camera seems to ship with firmware 1.0.2.3. So you're going to want to upgrade that first. So initial boot position was something that I had tried to do before the firmware update that I couldn't do, but basically you can just move it around. If I want the initial boot position to be like, and then say, okay, done. So now every time I turn the camera on, it is going to be in this position. Global hotkeys, remote controller. I guess you could buy a remote for it with gestures and everything. I don't think you really need that. Global hotkeys. Oh, it tells you all of the hotkeys. You could turn all of these on if you want. Under more, it says export log, upgrade manual, firmware upgrade, and reset to factory settings. So here I am just trying out the tracking a little bit, walking around. Sorry about the light. That is so that you can see the little camera up in the corner showing you it tracking me. Here is standard mode tracking. And then I turn on the motion mode tracking so that you could see that it tracks a little bit faster. I was just thinking about things that you could use it for if you were a streamer, and one of them was, playing some music, so I was giving that a go. I also wanted to test out, like, if I walked off frame or if I walked away, if it would immediately pick back up. I do know that it actually will switch to another person if I leave, because we saw that happen before. This is one of the gestures to zoom in. You make an L shape with your hand, pull it to or from the camera, and it zooms in. And then you hold your hand up, flat palm to the camera, and it will stop tracking you. You can then have another person do it, and it will start tracking them. So it re-registers you once you do it again. I also wanted to see how well the camera would track when you were a little bit further away, and also if the gestures would work. They do, but it takes a few times to get it to work. And then lastly, I wanted to see if it would track me without recognizing my face, and yeah, it works great. I put on my Solaire helmet and was jumping around. It's good. So, especially with the price point, the OBSBOT Tiny on Amazon is going for $202. So it's a pretty pricey camera. You're paying for that AI tracking. The Logitech C922X goes for $99 on Amazon. So if you're not going to be using the tracking motion, I definitely recommend getting something more like the C922 rather than the OBSBOT. However, if you are going to be wanting to do something where you're getting up and moving around, I really do recommend the OBSBOT because the tracking is really good. I even put a helmet on because I was wondering how it was tracking. I even put a helmet on to see if it was like face tracking, but once I put my Solaire helmet on, it still was tracking me. It's definitely really good AI tracking. The gesture controls work pretty well. So in the end, I think it's a pretty cool camera. It has a niche use, but if you are needing to use that niche, then niche it up, you know, niche that camera. Thank you so much for watching. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe, and all that stuff to help us out with our channel. We really appreciate it. The channel is growing. We're putting out a lot of new content, so we really appreciate every single like and comment and sub that you guys give. So make sure you stick around. We're going to do more of these. If any companies out there want to send us more stuff to review, we'll gladly do so. But yeah, we will see you next time. Have a good one.